Hello and welcome to this little conversation that I wanted to have. It's been a while since I've done one of these talking head videos, and I just had a really interesting conversation with a friend from high school, Kevin Karchner, and I was on his podcast, which is called Talk is Cheap. And so that one should be coming out in a little bit, and I'll let you guys know. I'll try to put the link for that in this video. But he really got me motivated to try to be a little bit more consistent. I talked about, I've wanted to start a podcast for a little bit, and he's like, well, just do it. And so this isn't a podcast, but I felt like I'd kind of been neglecting my YouTube channel, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that we talked about, and hopefully give you guys some motivation and just some ideas on finding success as artists or sculptors, or just in general. I'm a sculptor, and so that's kind of the analogy that I'll be using. And I wanted to bring up some of the questions that he asked because I thought they were good questions. And hopefully this will give you some insights and some things to think about, and hopefully maybe some action steps that you can take to change your schedule up to become a more successful artist. And so one of the first question that came to mind that I really thought it was a good question was, he said, how do you break down difficult tasks, and how do you get better? How do you improve? And I mentioned that I'd read a book that I think it was The Wealth of Nations. I think that's where I read it. And so from a long time ago, these books that the founders of the United States were writing, and these concepts that they were thinking about, and they mentioned, and this is before the Industrial Revolution, but they mentioned that if you have a complicated task that is difficult, what you need to do is you need to break it down into smaller and smaller tasks, and then give those tasks to people that can specialize in just that specific task. And if you're able to do that, then you're able to increase people's productivity. And so this is exactly the same formula that was used in the Industrial Revolution to be able to build something as complex as a car, a motor vehicle, using people that were relatively, they were just people. They were just, your average citizens, but they were able to be trained on a specific job. You just put this here, you just fasten this part there, and they just had that one job. And because of that, we were able to automate processes that were able to lead to this dramatic increase in productivity and in production that we're still benefiting from today. And the same can be said of difficult processes or difficult goals that we have in our life. And so if you have something that's difficult, learning how to sculpt a figure, learning how to draw, learning how to paint, becoming a successful artist, reaching your financial goals, whatever it is, those kind of long-term big goals that you have, those are the big tasks that almost seems impossible. If you were given the assignment to make a car from scratch, there's very few people that could ever in their entire lifetime build a car from scratch. But if you break it down into small enough tasks, then there are tasks that you can do, and there are things that you could learn how to do that could be part of the process to build that car. And when you're putting a difficult task on yourself that seems that overwhelming, just like a big something that's very difficult, or maybe it's a goal that pushes you right up to what you believe is possible. You think, I couldn't make maybe that much money, or I couldn't be that good. That goal that kind of pushes you maybe to that limit. What you do is you break it down into smaller and smaller tasks, and you eventually get tasks that you can do, that you can implement, just today. And so maybe today you can work on sculpting, or you can work on drawing, or you can work on painting, for half an hour, and that will help you reach towards that bigger goal. And so you may not be interested in art, but you may be interested, or specifically in sculpture, but some other type of art. But the principle can be applied in anything that you want to master, you want to become really good at. And so I recommend having those big goals. And so saying, I want to be in the top 1% of artists or of figurative sculptors or of whatever the thing is that you're drawn to. You know, you're as artists, we're kind of just pulled to be interested in things. It's not something that, like, I didn't choose to be interested in art. I just was interested in art. And I think that's the case for a lot of artists. And so being able to break down those big goals, small steps, and then do those steps every day, and then check yourself if you're doing it, and then have weekly goals, and being able to check yourself, and starting small. That was something that I heard from an entrepreneur. He said that was very successful, and he said, think bigger but start smaller. And so there is something that you could do today. There's something you could do that would just take you a little bit closer to those goals. And if you don't have any goals, I recommend writing down some goals, because and with goals, you want them to be, what is that acronym SMART? You want them to be specific. You want them to be measurable, so something that can be measured. You want to be what were the other ones? Measurable, realistic, I think, was one of them, and then time specific. I don't remember what the A was. It probably wasn't that important if I forgot it, but maybe somebody in the comments will remember. But time specific. So, for example, saying I want to be better at art, that's not a very good goal. You want to say, I want to create a finished work of art, you know, every week for a year. So I'll have 52 finished works of art that are high enough quality where I could approach a gallery and be like, I want to put this in your gallery. I want to have that a year from now, and I'm going to do that by painting a little bit every day and finishing one painting a week for 1 year. Like, that's a specific goal that's time specific. You know exactly what you need to do. Maybe you know roughly how long it takes you to finish a painting, but you'll get faster as the process goes along. And then you just say, you know what, I'm not going to go to sleep on Saturday until I have that finished painting. And I'm just not going to sleep until it's done. And if you have that kind of discipline, then that overwhelming task of saying, well, how am I going to paint 52 paintings? That's a lot. But you could do one painting this week. You could do one painting, even if it wasn't your best, you know, you could do one. And then by the end, maybe only 10% of those paintings are really up to the kind of quality that you want. But that's 12 paintings that you can put in your portfolio and have in a digital portfolio and take to galleries and say, this is the type of work that I'm interested in and I can produce. And I know I can produce it because I've done it. I could do one of these paintings a week. And so as fast as you can sell them, I can produce them. And then you're able to build on that goal that you set for yourself. Another thing that we talked about was sales. And that's something that a lot of people, a lot of artists especially, they get nervous when it comes to sales. But sales, just remember, sales is just communication. And so don't think of it as selling. Think of it as communicating your vision, communicating visual communication. You know, art is that visual communication. And so that is selling. So being able to express yourself and say, you know what, I'm really good at what I do, and I've worked really hard at it, and you know, you won't regret doing business with me, being a gallery, for example, that represents me, or being if you're trying to get a job in, let's say you do, you know, 2D animation or whatever it is, and you're trying to get hired by an employee. If you can convince somebody that you're passionate, that you're interested, and that you're a good communicator, then, you know, you have such a head start over people that really struggle with communication. And so sales, when you think of sales, don't think sales, just think communication and being able to express yourself and express the ideas and the concepts that you're trying to get across with your work. And that's something I think every art degree should be required to come with a business minor, like a marketing and business minor, because if you are an artist, you are your own business. You're your own brand. Your name is your brand. You know, you're the sales team. You have to sell. And even if you're going and you know you're not very good at sales, or you don't enjoy sales, so you're going to hire a gallery to sell for you, and you're going to pay them half of the commission half of the price of your work is going to go to that gallery because it's worth that much to you to not have to sell. You still have to sell to that gallery. And so there's no getting out of being able to communicate as an artist. And then, so production and communication, those are really key if you want to be a successful artist. I've spent a lot of time building up the Figure Sculpting Fundamentals course, which if you are interested, go over to proco.com/sculpture. I'll put a link. If you want to purchase that course, it's a great deal. I spent, 2.5, 3 years on it, and it has more information than I learned in college. And so if you're interested in sculpture specifically, and you want to break down sculpting into steps, the steps that the videos outline, building an armature, building up the clay, building the primary forms of the pelvis, the rib cage, and the head, and then, adding on the anatomy, adding on the surface details, texturing, and even some mold making. If you're interested in that type of stuff, then be sure you get that course, because we put a lot of work into it. It's a great course. So if you're watching this, you like sculpting, be sure to check that out. Link is in the description below. And I think those are the main things that I wanted to get across today with this video. But I am going to try to be more consistent with uploading these type of videos. I want to get better at communication, talking in front of a camera. This one was unscripted, and so hopefully it's not too hectic, and I probably won't do a lot of editing because I don't have a lot of time. I'm working on a lot. I have my fingers in a lot of different projects. I started the Figure Sculptors United, which was the Intermountain Figure Sculpture competition where we compete as professional figure sculptors. So that's coming up, and there'll be some videos on that. I'm doing the Proco course, and I've already started working on the next Proco course, which is going to go over the portrait. And so this first course is about the full figure. The next course is going to be on the portrait. I'm doing my Patreon, which I do projects every other week. So if you want to do projects with me and see some of the videos that I've been doing over there, you can check that out on my Patreon. And I've been trying to be consistent with posting on social media. So I got a lot of things going. But being on YouTube, that's something that I feel like is important. And I think it's important to be able to create content. I think we need more content creators that are creating good content and things that are interesting and motivational. So hopefully, if you get anything from this video, I hope you'll take away that breaking big, difficult tasks and goals down into small steps that you can do daily, and having those specific written goals in mind. And then I probably said something else important, but it's not coming to mind now. So that's it for this one. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe. If you want more tutorial specific videos, that's on the Proco 3D YouTube channel. So subscribe to that one if you want more instructional videos on specific things related to sculpture. Obviously, get the full course. That really helps me out. And you can find me on Instagram at Andrew Joseph Keith. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.